Right, spare the background noise. My nuggies are cooking in the air fryer. In my last video, I had this knockoff ECU reader writer. It basically failed and it kept giving me wake up error. And because I really don't care what happens to this device, we're going to open it up and have a look inside. I read somewhere on the internet that the SD card connection is a bit shitty. So basically we're just going to get a flathead screwdriver in here and just try and... Apparently these are just dust covers, but they're not coming off easy. My nuggies will be cooked by the time I get this off. Far out. Ow. Well, I'm making a mess of that. Part of me just wants to be like chewing it, but there's nothing to... Can't be stuck if it's liquid. That came out a little bit too easily. And where did the other screw go? There we go. Alright. There we go then. Apparently, from what I've read, is these knockoff clone boards seem to suffer broken solders and shit connections, which so far as I can see, there doesn't seem to be any broken solders. Not that I know how to read a PCB board, but if something looks broken, it usually is broken. Basically, this SD card, it was barely even in there. What I read is that these prongs and connections are dirty, and that there's sometimes oxidation on that card. Now I can't even focus on that. It doesn't look dirty, but you can't just copy and paste that card. It's an encrypted image. Basically, what I'm going to do, not that you can see what I'm doing here, I'm bending these up. Do you know, in the poorly translated Chinese video on how to repair these boards, they call these prongs shrapnel, and it's literally like they've Googled, what do you call small pieces of metal in English, and the translations come up as shrapnel, which is ironic because really all this board is good for is putting in a blender and turning into shrapnel. The connections don't look oxidized or dirty, but the idea that they may not be connecting the SD card properly seems pretty legit. Where did I put the SD card? It was right here. Ah, here we go. It's on SD card on top of the case. The SD card is on top of the case. Okay. It's nuggy time. Nuggy, 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 nuggy. All right. So I'm sure there's nothing in a chicken nugget that could damage your PCB board. All I can really think of to do is to look for anything that's loose. But so far as I can tell, everything that looks like it should be attached is attached. The thing is, I don't know how to read a PCB board, but all I'm looking for is anything that looks, well, broken or disconnected. And I am not seeing anything here that looks like it's not connected properly. Okay. So apparently the scam exists with these SD cards. They're deliberately sold with a faulty image. So apparently you try and contact your supplier and they go, here, buy a new SD card from us, guaranteed to work. And as you can imagine, your guarantee is not an actual guarantee. Bend the prongs up, they say. Ah. You got to lift it up. Here I am fucking around, trying to understand why it wouldn't clip down. And it's because I'm pushing the closing tab the wrong way. Now the expectation that taking the SD card out of this thing and bending the prongs up for a better connection, putting it back together is what's going to make it work is absolutely ridiculous, which is why I'm not rushing out to plug it into my computer. I said it in my last video, don't waste your money on these so-called Kess clones. They're not guaranteed to work. The software they're supposed to work with is 5 years old. In software terms, that's a lifetime. You're better off taking your vehicle to an actual tuning shop and spending your money there, because you're more likely to brick your ECU with one of these, and then that shit gets real expensive. I mean, I wanted to have a look inside, and that was the only point in this video. Yeah, I'm not going to plug this thing back in.